Hello everyone. Well, for the last few years I've used this fall time to do a sort of State of the Union, State of the Congregation address, if you will, as we think about our stewardship, discipleship, and financial support for this congregation. This year is no exception in terms of wanting to recap our ministry year of 2024 to this point, but also this year, unlike in times past, I wanted also to do something a little different. I am calling it the long view. By calling it the long view, not only do I want to highlight this calendar year in ministry, but I also want to widen our lens to include the last several years as well. For not only has 2024 been another active year in ministry here at CRLC, we have had several things going on over the last few years in our world and certainly in our congregation. And I wanted to take some time to look at things that have happened during our time in ministry together. As we think about the things that have occurred, first and foremost, obviously, COVID has played a major role in our lives, in the entire Christian church, certainly in society as well as our community of faith here in Brecksville. This disruptive aspect to our daily living has certainly had a lot of ripple effects across the social board. In faith communities like ours, it is called for us to be creative in being able to share our faith, to worship God, and function as a healthy and completely as we could while we were in a lockdown, seeking to use best practices and so forth, if you remember back then. And we know the world is now not the same on the other side of COVID. We also know that the church has been changed on the other side of COVID. We here at our congregation not only use that phase in time to seek ways to be in partnership and in ministry, we also use that stretch in time as an opportunity to do some facility enhancements. This came right off of a time of doing some other facility enhancements. As you might recall, that back in 2019, we were finally able, after years of several different approaches, attempts, and frustrations, to finally accomplish the long-term issue of enhancing our lighting here in our sanctuary. If you recall, went from a project that we thought was going to cost maybe $15,000 to a project that was close to over $90,000 when everything was all said and done. This included installing new fans, light panels, and lights in the sanctuary. We also had just completed a major repair to the lower level. We were experiencing several continued issues of occasional, but yet disastrous leaking in the basement. When there were severe storms or flooding in our area, this often resulted in trouble for us. So it ended up us digging up the entire front part of the church to fix that drainage and solve that problem. Then when the pandemic hit, we were still able to move ahead, and in some cases we're able to accelerate our enhancements and improvements to our grounds and to our facility. This included a major long-term repair to the organ, an issue that had been identified when the organ was first purchased, that we would have to deal with in terms of padding the keys somewhere down the road. So we were able to accomplish that while we were not doing in-person worship. We were also able to replace an antique sound system that was often failing us on Sunday mornings. We got rid of those projectors and were able to install large monitors for crisper and illuminated visuals for our worship services. And there are other major and minor projects that we have accomplished as well, including a group of volunteers who spent many hours helping to clean up and clear up the landscape in our front perimeter, making us more viewable from the road from Route 21 and giving us a much better look. After initially seeking to do a columbarium but running into an impasse with the metro parks, we instead redid the garden area on the south part of our parking lot to become a meditative garden that offers an opportunity to people to come and have some quiet time. This too grew from a simple project and cost into a multi-year plan of setbacks, challenges, and then more development. However, we got there. We added energy-efficient lighting in the fellowship hall and in the rest of the building. We did a major makeover of our gathering space, which allowed us to finally cut down the amount of difficulty and work that went in with hosting the coffee hour, running that cart back and forth on the floor, making noise. And the renewed space gave us a fresh look. And we also included in that an announcement monitor. In addition, as part of this, we have painted and carpeted the hallways, the fellowship hall, and have done some repair in the kitchen. We also did completely new signage throughout the building. We were also finally able to complete the automatic handicap door openings for people entering our building. Part of these things were to give an update to some things in the building that needed an upgrade for sure, but mainly they were focused to help welcome the visitor and be an inviting place. We've also continued to replace the HVAC units throughout our entire facility. We've also had a volunteer group working on decluttering the lower level with many dated supplies there. We have created a new message center. And for the 50th anniversary, for our in-reach, we used monies raised to redo the outdoor chapel, complete with new pews that will hopefully be long-lasting. We still have funds set aside from that project for the new altar as we continue to work to complete that project. And of course, this year, our big capital improvement project was the $100,000 major parking lot repavement. This included new drainage to help the water drain from the parking lot. It also included new asphalt trails to make getting back to the outdoor chapel even easier. This is not an entire list of all the things that we have undertaken, but as you can see, we have invested and accomplished a great deal of money and time in these projects. These facility enhancements do provide a picture of our ministry together, but they do not come close to telling the full story of what we do as a church. Our outreach of impacting people's lives, our discipleship and sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ, these things are not as easily captured by a photograph, but they are integral to the purpose of who we are and what we are as a community of faith. In our praising God and serving others, the seeds of ministry that are gathered and grown seek to lift up the gospel in a community, in partnership with each other, and for people whom we do not know and may never meet. We have continued in these years to serve God and serve people in so many ways. We have also grown in relationship to one another. Our Serving Sunday with Rise Against Hunger are examples of our yearly ministry together. Of course, in 2023, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of our congregation, complete with a special worship service with some of our previous pastors and leaders, with the bishop being present, and with many and various activities surrounding that event. And we did a number of things leading up to that day as well, and that great banquet. All this is a long way of saying that we have been a very active, vibrant faith community in these past few years. This year, in 2024, our youth were able to attend the ELCA National Youth Gathering in New Orleans. The 16,000 youth that gathered there had a positive, spiritual, and fulfilling fun trip. These last few trips around the sun, we saw a group of confirmands complete their confirmation. This year, we also brought back Art Connections. It was so great to see this be so successful again. I want to thank the Art Connections Committee led by Jen Evans, for all their hard work and making this a wonderful event. As you can see, we have been able to accomplish and experience and participate in so many aspects of what it means to be a gospel mission station together. However, we still have to wrestle with the ongoing impact of COVID and our societal changes. Like most churches, our worship attendance has been impacted by COVID. Our online worship through the early part of the pandemic was strong, but as people began to return back to in-person worship, those numbers accordingly have dropped for online worship. But still, a significant part of our congregation identifies that to be their chief way of worshiping with our faith community. While we've seen our attendance numbers now creeping back upwards, the pandemic, along with existing cultural trends, took its biggest toll on Sunday school. I know of a few congregations who no longer have Sunday school because of it. We here at our congregation are not immune. Our number of students and volunteers were greatly impacted by COVID-19. But the remnant that has remained has been strong, active, and spiritually fulfilling. All those volunteers, with a special shout out to the key leader of Kathy Howinski, have continued to work, to strive, and sometimes even do patchwork to make things go on in our ministry with our young children, including, again in 24, another successful year of Vacation Bible School. Our youth as a whole reflect the cultural trend of families not attending church, especially as compared to years past and decades past. However, for those who do come, we seek to continue to provide enriching and spirit-filled opportunities for people to grow in their faith. There is some speculative evidence now that the pendulum might be swinging favorably for that in the future, which brings me to turn our view from the long view backwards now to the long view ahead. Well, first, in the short view ahead, I'm asking you to give prayerful consideration to what your financial support to CRLC will be in 2025. I am hopeful that we can continue our trend of meeting our financial goals and finishing in the black each year. Thank you for all that you have given. It is also helpful that our support will continue to help us provide and equip our ministry, not just in dollars, but equally important by people giving of their time. Which is why, once again, we are sending out a stewardship letter with an estimate of giving card and including a time and talent invite. In the longer view ahead, back in January 2020, with the arrival of the new decade, we had embarked on a 2020 vision with our leadership. We had just concluded a presentation that I did in a retreat setting to look at different aspects of our ministry. When just a few weeks after its conclusion, the pandemic struck, and most of that was quickly shelved. So now that we are on this side of the pandemic, now that we have our feet underneath us again, I'm hoping that 2025 can be an opportunity to look at what we think can, could, or will be ahead, and how we as a congregation may minister and be faithful in it. What is around the corner? What is coming down the road for our world and for our church? Can we even predict it? How will our congregation adapt, plan, flex, direct, reinvent, lead, grow, enhance itself as a Christian faith community that wants to grow the gospel of Jesus Christ in the year 2025 and beyond? Therefore, I'm hoping that in the first part of 2025, we can form a team to begin to look at a direction for possible future ministries that will and can enhance what we are already doing and what we are not yet doing to strengthen us for the future. I want to begin to focus as we are able on the long view ahead. Finally, these mailboxes beside me represent a quick snapshot of the people who do so much to make ministry happen at CRLC. Our staff. We are blessed here to have a staff that cares for this faith community. Our support staff of Luda Stoller, who is our cleaning person, Mike Skowarski, our facility manager, Cecile Mastrioni, our bookkeeper, our ministry staff of Jill Kubel, our parish nurse, who does so much behind the scenes that many do not see, Paul Travagliani, who works with our youth, James Alfieri, our music director, who shares so much of his talents with us, and of course, Marcy Kehoe and Lori Siebert in the office, who enable the church to function day to day. All are part of a team that cares about the people in this community of faith. Also here are mailboxes for a person like Lee Nicely, who is our financial secretary for all these years. And our vision board leaders, Steve Wilson, our president, Tom Weber, our vice president, Gail Stelmachuk, our secretary, Laura Kick, our treasurer, along with other people serving on the vision board with Dan, Tanya, Ryan, and Zach, who have made a vision board that has guided our decision making. Also, there are members of the ministry board with mailboxes here. And Linda, Jan, Kathy, Mark, Diane, and Liz, who are all on the front lines of our ministry, make things happen. And these are just a few of the many who helped our congregation run on people power, our discipleship. I hope you appreciate and will thank them, as well as consider what role you may be called to play in serving God in this place. Here at CRLC, we are blessed with people who are dedicated to this place and bring great leadership and discipleship ideas. We are a fruitful congregation in the Northeastern Ohio Synod, and I look forward to the long view ahead of how Christ the Redeemer Lutheran Church will continue in its praising God and serving others. Thanks to all of you. Thanks be to God. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. And as always, take care, dear church.